I was exactly 10 minutes late for my dog's acupuncture appointment that morning. And it wasn't because of traffic. The road leading to my house had been physically barricaded. Not with cones or tape, but with massive granite boulders that looked like they'd been dragged in with construction equipment. A sparkling purple sign stood beside them. The words printed in a clashing comic-style font. HOA reparations, $100,000, or a public apology. Preferably both. Marjorie Alcott, president for life. Still wearing my morning outfit of Crocs and gym shorts, I stepped out of my Subaru Outback. Across the street, Marjorie Alcott herself was waiting. Leaning smugly against a golf cart she'd wrapped in custom vinyl, declaring it a neighborhood compliance vehicle. It even had fake police lights that weren't on but looked ready to flash. It was 11:08 a.m. on a Tuesday. She was sipping a mimosa through a metal straw, sporting oversized sunglasses and a rhinestone-studded blazer that read authority across the back. Her tone was honey-sweet but poisonous underneath as she called out, "I'll move the boulders when you show proper contrition. Also, your mailbox font violates section 12.3 of our visual harmony guidelines. I've documented it." That was the moment I realized things had spiraled. But to explain how we got here, I have to rewind. Meet the dictator of Honeysuckle Meadows. I'm Todd Bellingham, 42. A software engineer who owns exactly 3 outfits and organizes his vinyl collection by vibe instead of artist or genre. 2 years ago, I moved to Honeysuckle Meadows for its tree-lined streets and promise of zero drama. My strategy for avoiding HOA politics was simple. Pretend to be Canadian whenever neighbors brought up governance. But Marjorie Alcott didn't need me to participate. She only needed me to submit. Twice divorced and thrice elected by suspiciously uncontested ballots, she had crowned herself emotional mayor of our subdivision. Her hobbies included filing complaints about invisible violations, announcing non-binding referendums she treated as constitutional amendments, writing bylaws that sounded like they belonged in medieval scrolls. One banner she'd hung in the community center read, "Ye shall not store bins in public view, lest they offend thy neighbors." I should have known she wasn't normal. The spark that lit the fuse. 3 weeks before the boulders, she knocked on my door at 6:45 a.m. already an unholy hour. Clipboard in hand, she demanded I join something called the Front Lawn Topiary Jubilee, a mandatory celebration where residents had to sculpt their bushes into patriotic symbols. Half asleep, I replied politely, "I don't have bushes, just grass and one sad oak tree." Her face went 3 shades of purple. She scribbled on her clipboard so hard I heard the paper tear. In a voice shaking with rage, she hissed, "Everyone has bushes, Todd. Some people just don't acknowledge them." 6 hours later, her revenge campaign began. The violations start rolling in. Daily violation notices started arriving, each one more absurd than the last. Highlights included, violation Siptis 40. My wind chimes exceeded acceptable decibel limits under the HOA's psychic harmony clause, which she invented that morning. Violation 61. My garage door closed too aggressively at 7:32 p.m., disturbing Mrs. Blanchard's aura during meditation. Violation Siptis 40. My bird feeder attracted emotionally needy birds, lowering property values with their desperate chirping. She once live-streamed herself measuring my lawn with a ruler on the HOA Facebook page, narrating like a crime documentary. Bermuda grass at 3.2 inches. Limit is 3.0. This is microaggressive height. 17 viewers tuned in, most leaving comments questioning her mental health. The smear campaign. Then came the pamphlets. At 5:00 a.m. on a Sunday, she distributed leaflets door-to-door with headlines like, "Todd be exposed. Is his compost bin a secret meth lab? Investigation. Is Todd's oak tree a gang symbol?" She even photoshopped red arrows onto pictures of my house to highlight imaginary code violations. Each evening she hosted transparency tribunals in her driveway, standing behind a second-hand podium like a dictator addressing the masses. Her 3 supporters, whom I'm convinced were bribed with cucumber sandwiches, nodded solemnly as she listed my alleged crimes. One night she used a whiteboard full of trigonometry to prove the angle at which I parked my car constituted vehicular aggression. Weaponizing social media. By Labor Day, Marjorie had turned the HOA Facebook group into her personal kangaroo court. She posted polls with unhinged options. Should Todd Bellingham attend remedial lawn care classes? Is Todd's refusal to sculpt bushes an act of domestic terrorism? The last straw came when she blocked my driveway with landscaping stones spelling comply, and posted a poll asking, should Todd Bellingham apologize or be banished? Option C, both plus a fine, was winning by 42 votes. I suspected she had multiple accounts. Enough was enough. Up until then I'd kept quiet, documenting everything in a desktop folder labeled evidence of insanity. But the boulders were different. They came with a handwritten demand addressed to Her Excellence Marjorie Alcott, Grand Vizier of Law and Order, Defender of Property Values, first of her name. That pushed me past my breaking point. I didn't call a lawyer. I didn't call the city. I called Devin Mitchell. Enter Devin Mitchell. Devin was my best friend from college, the guy who once hacked Senate Wi-Fi to prove its security was terrible.
He'd been recruited by the FBI for his talent at finding vulnerabilities, and now worked in counterintelligence. He owed me about 17 favors from our college days. He answered on the second ring. I could hear him typing. Dev, my HOA president is extorting me for 100 grand. Pause. Then, is this the same woman who measured your grass on Facebook Live? You saw that? Brother, everyone saw that. Johnson from Financial Crimes has it as his screensaver. Tell me everything. After I explained, Devon said firmly, I'll be there tomorrow. Wear something nice. We're going to have some fun. The sting operation. At precisely 9 a.m. the next day, Devon arrived in a government-issued black SUV with tinted windows, wearing dark Oakleys and carrying an official-looking clipboard. 2 junior agents who looked about 12 but assured me they were professionals spread out across my yard taking measurements. Marjorie materialized within 3 minutes, striding confidently. This is private property under HOA jurisdiction. You need my permission to be here. Devon removed his sunglasses slowly and said in his most official tone, Good morning, ma'am. Special Agent Mitchell with the Bureau. We've received multiple reports of interstate commerce obstruction, federal mail route interference, and potential violations of the Fair Housing Act. Are you Marjorie Alcott? Puffed up with pride, she declared, I am, and I demand to know your authority. Devon held up his badge, sunlight glinting off it. Federal authority, ma'am. Why have you blocked a public road, preventing USPS delivery and emergency access? She laughed dismissively. I am the law here. That's not a public road, it's HOA property. Devon scribbled a note. Interesting legal theory. And can you also explain the surveillance drone? Her bravado cracked. What drone? The one registered with the FAA as HOA Recon Hawk, operating on a commercial frequency, photographing residents' backyards without consent. That's a federal privacy violation. She tried to recover. It's for security compliance. One junior agent looked up from his tablet. Sir, she filed paperwork with a forged USDA seal declaring this property a wildfire risk zone. Submitted to 3 insurance companies. Devon's expression hardened. Ma'am, that's impersonation of a federal agency and insurance fraud. Those are felonies. The fallout. By week's end, Devon's favor had become a full-fledged federal case. Agents uncovered Marjorie had been running a small-scale extortion ring through the HOA, demanding payments just under $10,000 from at least 7 residents, claiming it was for neighborhood improvements that never materialized. On Monday, real federal agents arrived, tactical gear and all. They confiscated her HOA laptop, 3 walkie-talkies labeled executive communication devices, a drone clearly violating privacy laws, and my favorite, a binder labeled Neighborhood War Crimes, containing detailed punishment plans for residents. My section was 43 pages long, titled Operation Total Lawn Surrender. The boulders were removed by men in tactical gear who looked like they were having way too much fun operating heavy machinery. From her window, Marjorie watched, mouthing words I couldn't hear but imagined as, This is HOA treason. They'll all pay. That afternoon I mowed my lawn in blissful silence while Devon grilled bratwursts on my porch, timing it to comply with Marjorie's own outdoor cooking rule. Neighbors appeared one by one, then in groups. Even Mrs. Blanchard, whose aura had apparently healed, brought potato salad and said cheerfully, She tried to find me for my garden gnome's facial expression. The end of an era. That night the remaining board members held an emergency HOA meeting by the community pool because Marjorie had lost the community center keys. Folding chairs formed a hasty circle. She arrived in full dictator regalia, HOA sash, authority blazer, and a gavel she'd bought that morning. Her final speech was pure delusion. You're making a terrible mistake. Without my firm hand, this neighborhood will descend into anarchy. Your grass will grow wild. Your mailboxes will lean at improper angles. You'll miss my tyranny. They voted her out unanimously. She was replaced by Gary, a soft-spoken man who ran only because he wanted to revive the community potluck and fix the playground Marjorie had taped off as a liability zone for a year. I received a formal apology on HOA letterhead. Gary had to hack the template because Marjorie password protected it as Tyrant Forever 2023, and a $100 Home Depot gift card for exceptional patience. Devon, savoring his petty justice, submitted footage of Marjorie's unlicensed golf cart joyrides to the DMV. She'd been driving it to the bank, grocery store, and even a wine tasting 40 minutes away. The DMV revoked her mobility scooter privileges for 6 months and fined her $3,000 for operating an unregistered vehicle. Real consequences. 2 weeks later, federal charges landed. The investigation found up to 5 years in prison for impersonating a federal agency, $20,000 in fines for illegal drone surveillance, 10 additional years for insurance fraud. In court, the judge read the charges in a flat monotone. Marjorie fainted theatrically, then sprang up shouting, "But I was protecting property values." This is what heroes do. Aftermath. Life in Honeysuckle Meadows is quieter now. The grass grows at whatever height residents prefer. Mailboxes lean without consequence. And for the first time in months, my dog's acupuncture appointments run on schedule. As for me, I still have my evidence of insanity folder, but now it's just for laughs. And every so often, when I'm mowing my lawn in peaceful silence, I catch myself smiling, remembering the day the president for life finally met someone she couldn't bully.